Okay. So I would love to see a show of hands who has, oh, go ahead. Who has an Instagram account and actually uses it? Okay, you all have an Instagram account. Perfect. Who posts in your Instagram account? Just regular posts at least twice a week. Not really. Okay.
I have been in the last month.
You're
Yes.
there. Okay. Who uses Instagram stories? Okay. Do you use them daily? Okay. And then who has Instagram stories and then also posts those stories into your Facebook stories? Okay, perfect. And who uses Facebook stories, but not Instagram stories?
Oh.
Okay, cool. So you're a little familiar with stories. And who has done a reel? Yay, I know, we did them together. So you're the only person that's done a reel. Okay.
We all want to learn.
Okay, because I was going to say who posts reels at least once a week, but I'm going to say that's probably nobody, right? Okay.
Right.
So let's talk about, all right, so the importance of doing reels. There's a couple reasons why I want to talk about why it's important. Okay, so reels can just bring new eyeballs to your account. First of all, your Instagram in general is a place where you can have endless possibilities of people finding you. But first of all, your account needs to be public. So if your account is private, no one is going to find you. Even if you're putting hashtags in your posts and people are searching that hashtag, they will never find you because you're private. So make sure you have a public account. And if you're worried about having a public account, like, oh, I have my kids on here and I don't like to put them on public, either be selective about what kind of content of your kids that you put on there, or just have a separate personal account for friends and family. If that's what you want, if you want to have a place where you can share your kids' photos, but you don't want it to be public, just have a separate one. Some people do that and then they don't use it as often. They just kind of post kids' pictures when they want. And then the rest of the time they're using their main account as their, quote unquote business account. And when I say business account, don't feel like you have to post like only business stuff or only Plexus. And actually that will turn people off, right? You want your Instagram and your Facebook, to be a variety of things. You do want to be posting about your business, of course, or else people won't know you have one. But you do want to post about your life. You want it to be showing people, helping people get to know you. You also want to entertain people and you want to be able to show value to people. So a really important part that I'm still trying to figure out is figuring out what your niche is and what value you have to offer people and consistently posting in that niche. And I am like really trying to work on that myself. I'm not really sure where I'm going with it. So what I'm going to say is I'm not here to train on that, but it's something that I want you to start looking into. Maybe listen to podcasts, start researching online on how to figure out what your niche is. Abby Kappa, if you don't follow her, follow her. She is really amazing at talking about your niche. And she actually has a course coming up, which I'm really thinking about biting the bullet and doing it, but I haven't decided yet. So anyways, that's a whole different thing. What's that?
How do you spell her name?
Abbeycappa. Abby Kappa. There's an E in her name. And she has an excellent podcast. Look up, it's called the She's Here For It podcast. And she has a ton of valuable info for us as people on Instagram and in general. But also she is technically a Plexus ambassador, but she focuses most of her business now these days. I mean, she was a diamond, one of the youngest, or she was the youngest diamond, I believe. When she went diamond, and she now, just focuses on really her coaching and her Instagram and stuff like that. But it's cool because, she's been there where we are. So she has a lot of great value for us. So follow her. Okay. But the important thing is to kind of keep a theme is kind of where I was going with that niche thing. Even if you don't specifically know what you're specifically offering in your little, what is your little category that you want to be in, who you're serving and all that, try to keep a theme to a point with your posts and with your reels and things like that. And yeah, it's going to vary a little bit, because if you have the same content every day, every week, whatever, it's going to get boring and people are going to start swiping away because they're like, oh, she just did that yesterday. She just talked about that last week. Same thing, same thing. You do want to have a little bit of variety in there. But let's talk about I want to talk about your profile. Let me think if there's anything else I wanted to say before I get into that. But like, so I talked about one of the reasons for having reels is more people finding you. And, hashtags is an important part of that, but also when you're doing reels in general, just using trending audio, and I'll show you where that is when we get to that. But there's just a whole reel section on Instagram. People will just touch the reel button and they can scroll through anybody's reels. Random people's reels will come up. And so that's another way, people are finding you. And the other thing is the fact that Instagram wants you to use their new features. And at this point, Reels is one of the newest features. So they want you to be using that. And if Instagram comes out with something new, my advice to you is to jump on it. Get on whatever the new thing is that they have, because they reward people that jump onto things quickly. So the people that got onto Reels immediately, they were rewarded by having their content actually pushed out to more people because they were using the new feature. And then the people that started Reels later didn't get that big, push because they didn't start it right away. So if that makes sense, you never know what Instagram's going to come out with, but definitely use their features and all that. Okay.
Which, by the way,
What's that?
By the way, you, my dear, become popular last night as I was scrolling through just the reels, like you said, just boom, 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 boom. Like, oh, there's Nicole. You're just a random reels.
Oh, that's cool. See, that's really cool whenever you show up in the random reel section or in the search bar, when you go to search something, usually there's a reel in the top right corner. Sometimes I recognize the person up there. Sometimes I don't. Yeah. So that's fun. Good. Yeah. One of my reels recently, not the last one, but the one before, which was only 2 days ago, I think had 1,500 views. So, I mean, that's pretty good for me. I don't think I've ever gotten more than 4,000 views on a reel so far. And, it's not all about like how many views you have or how many likes, like just keep doing them, keep trying, and don't delete your reels unless something technical happens. Like say you have an issue where like you get a notification from Instagram and it says this audio has been deleted from your reel because it violates copyright or something. Sometimes that happens, like someone's audio that you use, like it wasn't supposed to be out there or something. I don't know. So then they delete your audio, delete your reel at that point, because if no one can hear it, it's not as fun. Or if something glitches and you need to delete it. But otherwise, like there's a reason that there's a draft button. You can make these drafts ahead of time and then decide not to post them or post them later. You can always edit them. But try to just keep your content going. Like when you're deleting stuff constantly, just because you think, oh, I only got like 100 views on this, like that's not, not enough. Just leave it on there, because first of all, it may be valuable to somebody. Maybe down the road, you want to tag somebody in this reel because maybe it does share value with them that they can learn from. And it also just starts to build a base of you having some reels on your account, because this might be weird, but sometimes when I go to accounts, say I see somebody in my feed and maybe it's through the reel feed, or I searched a hashtag and I found this person's post and I thought, oh, this is really good. Like, let me check this person's profile out. So the first thing I do is I click their profile and I glance at it. And if it kind of looks like a mess or there's not much there and I don't know what their purpose is or what they're offering me, I may not follow them. And if I usually glance at their profile and look down and see if they have any reels. If they don't have any reels, a lot of times I don't follow them either, because I'm like, I like reels. I like to watch reels. I like people that are entertaining and have fun stuff like that. So other people might do that too. If they see like you don't even offer, or you don't even do any reels and you have nothing valuable to offer in the last 6 of your posts, they may not follow you. So just keep in mind what your profile looks like. So let's talk about that. Mine's not perfect, but here, you know what? I'll share my screen and we'll just talk profiles for a second.
I just realized I didn't have my link in here and I didn't have anything in my bio.
So speaking of that, I don't put my link in my profile, but I would put other stuff in there. So you can put your link in your bio, but I feel personally it's a turnoff because the first thing that they see will be right here. Like your link will show up like right here. And if that's the first thing they see, they just assume, oh, she's trying to sell me something. Never mind. I'm not going to follow this person. So that's why I don't do it. The only time I'll put my link in my profile is when maybe I had a post that's talking about like a special that we're having, you know, like maybe it's the end of the month and there's something going on. And I made a post that has like a call to action. And then I say, hey, to, you know, get 10% off combos, visit my link in my profile. Or, you know, maybe there's something like I might make a post about greens and the Sip for a Cause thing. Maybe I'll put a post or a link in my profile just for a day. I might just do it for a day or two, just for people that visit that post and decide they want to check it out. But I will not leave it there. So I've only done that randomly a few times. Okay. What I would put in there is, and this, I keep changing. I'm trying to figure out, you know, how I want to put how I serve people. Cause right now I only have helping moms live well. I used to have something in here that talked about, you know, postpartum depression and things like that for moms. But then I changed it to this. It's a little bit more general right now. So I need to work on this too. But what Abby Kappa says is your profile should tell people, your bio should tell people who you are serving and what problem you solve, you know, or what you're offering, but mostly who you're serving and what problem do you solve. So write that down. Think about that, jot down ideas as they come to you over the next week or two. You know, you could even keep a little note in your phone and it just label it like Instagram bio, you know, and then write down what problem do you offer, what problem do you, or I'm sorry, who are you serving and what problem do you solve, and start as they come to you and the random parts of your day, go back to that note and write that down. You might think of different ideas, just use it as a brainstorm place, because then you can always go back to your bio, change it. You could change your bio 100 times a day if you want. So don't be afraid of like having the perfect bio. You can change your category. I changed mine to entrepreneur. Before it said health and beauty, but then I decided that might be a little bit of a turnoff. I wasn't sure, you know, just because people might think, oh, well, she's selling like makeup or something, or she's selling something. And this might be too, but it's more general entrepreneur. So I just changed it to that. Now my name, you can change your name at any time. So don't feel like you're stuck with whatever name you started with. You can edit your profile and edit your name, but if it's already taken, obviously you can't use somebody else's name. I think you can only change your name like once every 7 or 10 days. Like you have to stick with it for a little bit, and then you have a chance to go back and change it.
Format of your, what did you click on to get to that format of your profile? Because I don't know how to do that.
Oh, okay. So I'm on the home screen and I just clicked I know it looks different on a desktop, but then I just clicked the profile bubble. See the bubble that has my picture here in the corner, and I clicked profile. And then here I am. And so it's got my feed down here. These are all my posts, a mix of posts and reels. You can click. Did you find it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was just so plain that I didn't realize that was.
Yeah, it's probably too just how it looks on the desktop. I'm not sure. I know on the phone it looks a little bit more busy, I think, because it's squished in. And then, yeah, so you can see just someone's reels by clicking the reels. Otherwise, it'll default to just showing all your posts, which you can always remove. Like I can't do it from my desktop right now, but if I didn't want this to show up in my profile grid on the Instagram app, you can click it and there'd be 3 dots and you're able, it doesn't work on the desktop, but there will be an option that says remove from profile grid. I might do that later with this reel so it doesn't show up in my profile grid, because it just kind of looks messy. You know, it's not neat. I did it in the dark. I shouldn't have done that reel so dark. I should have had a light on so it doesn't look nice and clean on my profile, which I'm not perfect with my profile. I'm not someone that has everything like color schemed. I don't like set up a design for my posts because that's not me. I'm not like that. I'm messy at home. So I'm not trying to be perfect on Instagram. So, but there's definitely something to somebody that has a profile that looks very clean. So if you are someone that's really good at that stuff and really good at keeping things organized, I suggest go with it and do that. But I do like it to look nice. I do like it to look pretty to a point, but it's definitely not perfect. And it's a mix of things. But then again, other people may relate to that. Other people may relate to somebody that's more neat and put together profile, and that's fine too. No big deal. So let's talk about this highlight section here. These are called highlights. If you don't have highlights, we're still in my profile. Right underneath your bio, you will see these little bubbles. If you don't see any on yours, that's okay. That means you just haven't made any highlights yet. So some of mine, I tried to make look nice and clean with like these just color bubbles. So it's plain and then it's listed what it is underneath. Some of it, I just have the highlight cover photo as a picture of what we're talking about. I've gone back and forth on it and none of them are the same. So that's okay too. Like they don't have to be perfect. I think if you're really trying to attract people to your profile though, and have them want to follow you once they click your profile, it's probably a really good idea to keep them neat and organized, or at least to have, even if they're not organized like me, they're organized slightly, I would say, but they're not like color coded is what I'm saying here. You could do that. But if you don't have yours color coded, that's fine. At least have a couple highlights, 3 or 4 highlights. I'm going to show you what those are and how to get highlights, because people usually make a decision on whether they want to follow you or not within like 3 seconds, I think is the stat on that. So when they glance, they're glancing real quick. They're seeing your name, they're seeing what you do, they're seeing a couple little words about you, and then they're seeing your highlights. And they're going to say, oh, this person talks a lot about food. See, I have recipes, then I have my food. And then I have motivation, protein recipes, cake pops. So the first like 4 or so show up on an app, I think. I'm trying to remember. Let me look at it now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them show up. Probably can't see that, but there's like 5 bubbles here. So that's what people see when they glance at my profile. They see my first 5 bubbles, and that's what they think I'm all about, right? So you want to have valuable stuff in there. Now it's going to seem like overwhelming at first, like, oh, how do I make all these highlights? Well, they come from your stories, and don't get overwhelmed. Just as you go, add things to your highlights. Only if they're relevant, they're useful, and they're things that people would want to look at. Don't just add random stuff, like a random picture of a flower. It's just, things like that. It's maybe not that interesting to somebody. Think about what would be interesting to somebody if they glanced at your profile and they quickly wanted to look at your highlights. Because I do this often. I glance at someone's profile. I like to look at their highlights. I like to see like what is really important to them. What are they all about? Do I want to follow this person? So let's look for a second. I mean, here, recipes. So my recipes are behind the scenes of me. Like I'm showing the process of how I make this pork in my dinner. And so some people really like this. They like to see the process of how I make things. What ingredients do I put in stuff? So this is what this section is all about. There's a bunch on that, and you can delete them as you go. So where I pulled these from is from my stories. And when you have a story, there'll be a button at the bottom, and it has a little heart, and it says highlight or add to highlight. And I'll show you right now. So hard to see on this little screen. I'm not going to show you right now. I'll do it whenever we do stuff live in a few minutes. I'll show you. But you click add to highlight, and then you can add it to a category. Or if you don't have any names of your highlights yet, you're going to create a highlight and you're going to call it something. And then you can continuously add to that. And then when you're done, turn this off, sorry. And then when you have a highlight and you have a few things in it, you can select one of them as your cover photo, okay? And interestingly enough, the way I selected this pink thing as my cover photo on recipes, I actually just zoomed in on one of the slides that was pink, just zoomed in to like a blank space, and because it lets you kind of just zoom in on a circle of whatever picture you want to be your highlight. So that's how I got that color there. Or you could just put a blank slide in there and add it to your highlight if you want them to be color coded and nice and pretty like these ones here. Or if not, just pick something that's pretty. Like see this cake pop one? I mean, it comes right out. Like you can see what this is and how pretty it is. People may want to click this. Same with the protein recipes. It shows this is a shake and it's a real clean picture. Okay, I don't want to get too far into all this because I know you guys want to learn how to do a reel. You want to talk about, I want to talk about stories a little bit first before we get into the reels, because the reels, we're going to be sitting on our phones and doing stuff. So let me, let's see, let me look at my stories real quick. Old stories, Okay. I'm trying to see what I can do from the desktop. I guess I can't. Okay, so first of all, you can see on stories, if you didn't know this already, at the bottom of every story on Facebook and on Instagram, there's little bubbles and it says seen by, and then you can see who's looking at your stories. And all their names are here, okay? And so that's great. You could use that to actually message the person and say, thanks for viewing my stories. I really appreciate it. When you're on the app, there's a little button here and it'll be like a little paper airplane that you can click and it'll take you straight to DM them. I don't really do that very often, but when I do love to engage with people. And this is what I want to talk about. But it's not just via the viewers, because the viewers, okay, they're viewing, but they may just be mindlessly viewing. However, the people that view all the way through, those are my people, right? If you see someone in your first story and there's maybe, and today it looks like my stories aren't highly viewed. Like my first story might be like 100 people might be viewing my story. But then when it gets to the end, people drop off because they start to get bored or whatever. But if you see all those people sticking through it, your stories are good and people are enjoying them. So that's a good thing. You can kind of tell, you can get your own insights without looking at the, Instagram insights. You can get your own insights just by seeing how many people are viewing your stories and how many people are dropping off and who's staying till the end, because those are the people that are watching you. And those are the people you might want to message and thank for watching your stories, or just have a conversation with, keep the relationship up with them. One person I want to show you too real quick before we move off the screen share. Here we go. Sunny Keck, she is an ambassador. She is amazing. I would suggest following her. Look at her name right now and you can follow her. What's that?
Yeah.
Night.
We went to the Plexus opportunity.
She was
event, and
there?
was first. Yeah.
That's so cool. I don't even know where she's from. So is she from the area or like from the East Coast? Or?
Arkansas.
Arkansas,
Okay.
that's right.
Okay, cool. So she traveled just a little bit. So I like her page. And when I talked about having a clean page and having clean highlights, she's got it right here. She's got these little bubbles that have like her little, this is like her look, she has a look to hers. And then let's look at her bio. She's telling people who she helps. She's helping the helpers. Those are the people that she's serving, the helpers. And then this is what she's solving. She's helping people fight burnout. She's helping people untangle their life, live into their values, optimize physical and mental health. Like that's a really strong bio. She's telling people exactly who she's looking for. And then the people that relate to that are going to follow her. And the people that aren't, that's okay. We have to be okay with not everybody following us, because little trick, not necessarily a trick, but Instagram actually, I think, rewards you more if your ratio to your followers versus your following is maybe closer. Mine's not. I know I need to delete a lot of my people. I feel like I'm following too many people that aren't even relevant for me. And then there's a lot of people that are following me that I'm not engaging with. So I kind of got to figure that out. But if you have a smaller following, but you have people engaging with you, that's strong for Instagram. Even if you only have 200 followers, but if they're all engaging, that's really good. So don't worry about the numbers. Like, oh, she has so many. And that's not even that many. Like 1,600 isn't even a ton compared to a lot of influencers out there. So, but that's okay because she's got a strong bio and a strong sense of who she's looking for and all that. So anyways, the other cool thing I want to mention is about her cover photos on her reels. So when you look down, she has most of her reels go right into her profile grid. Some people like to keep all theirs there. Some people like to move them off there. I like to see them in the profile grid, like if they're really good and if they look nice. So for example, see these little things where it's just showing words. This is actually a reel. And this slide that says mama said it was okay doesn't actually even show up in her reel at all. It's just the cover photo that she selected so that when people view her profile, they know what they're going to be clicking on. you know? So it's kind of like almost like not the hook, but like it's at least giving people an idea of what they're going to see, if that makes sense. So when people go to her profile, they're like, oh, okay, here's a life hack, in that one. Anyway, so let's just look at that. So where's the life hack one? I just lost it.
Make that cover photo for your reel. Yeah.
Oops, I guess I don't have the sound on. Oh, there it is. Sorry.
In your life. I'll go first. Show me the life hack that you randomly saw one day that is now an unconscious standard practice in your life.
And as you saw, this slide didn't even show up, right? So I'll show you guys in just a little bit how you can add a cover photo, or you could just select, the cover photo can just be an image from the video you just did. A lot of times though, I mean, I'm pretty lazy about it and don't do these nice cover photos. I want to start incorporating that because I think it looks really great. But what happens is like when we just pull a random, screenshot basically from the video you did in that reel, a lot of times you can't find a good one. They don't really look nice, So, I mean, if you can find a good one, that's great. But if not, you could even just add a photo of yourself, a selfie, and just make that the cover photo. And it could never appear in your reel. You could even be wearing a different outfit than your reel. No one's going to notice. It's just to make it look nice, excuse me, on your profile. So that's just kind of one that I wanted to show you about people quickly glancing at your profile and what they see. And then the next thing I'm going to talk about is I'm going to talk a little bit more about stories real quick before we get into the reel making and saving posts. Before I get off the screen share, here's another important thing that you can do. Let me go home and see if I'm able to save a post from the desktop. It does not let me do that, but I'll show you where they are. So I want to share with you how to save posts and why you would want to save somebody's posts. So let's click on my profile. Oh, there it is. So actually, when I clicked on that menu, it was showing up right there, saved. See that little bookmark button? I have all my saved stuff right there. Click that. And then I have them categorized. You could also just see like all of the posts you saved are in one spot, or, here's healthy recipes that I saved just for my personal enjoyment, or I may repost them, here's people I want to engage with. And I've deleted a bunch of them off because, I kind of refresh this a lot. Like I'll engage with people, like I basically put people on a hot list for a week. I need to add more people to this, but like, for example, maybe a couple of weeks ago, I might have had 8 people in this little category that I had saved. I wanted to work on engaging with them for that week. And so that's one reason why I use this, because you can save people's posts. And then I'm going to go to this post and say, okay, this is somebody I want to engage with. Okay, this is an old post 8 weeks ago. No problem. What we're going to do is go to her profile. By saving her post, it's an easy access for me to get to her profile and start engaging with her. I might click her stories from here. I may go to her most recent post. I may just message her. You know what I mean? So basically, it just creates a shortcut for you to create an engagement list. I'm sure you guys know how to use those lists on Facebook. This is a way to use them on Instagram. You can also just categorize post ideas that you have. Maybe I want to, whoops, we're still here. Here, mom life. These are either posts of moms I'm interacting with, or it's posts that I liked that I might want to repurpose their content that they used. People to interact with about skincare, I have that saved as a totally separate category. So I know that these are Joyome people I'm trying to interact with. We haven't really talked to Joyome. Actually, one of them I have introduced Joyome to her, but the other ones I haven't yet, but I'm kind of working on that relationship. Business post ideas, as I use them, I usually delete them. But like, for example, Jill Renfro had a post. I liked her post, so I saved it as a post idea that I can use for the future and copy that text. Now, or just glance at it and type my own thing from using it as inspiration. You don't always have to, if you like someone's post idea, you don't need to copy it word for word. And actually, it's way better if you just write it yourself and just use that post as inspiration. But if you do want to copy somebody's word for word and edit it a little bit, the only place that you can copy an Instagram post is from the desktop. You can't do it from the phone. It does not let you copy someone's text, but you can do it from here. Actually, I feel like I can't do it right now, but if I click Command C, yeah. If if I do the Command C, I can copy it and move it over to like a note or a post. Okay. So I'm going to stop the share and I'm just going to hold up my phone and show you some things and also talk stories real quick before we practice making a reel. Okay. So with this, I just want to show you real quick how to save. I think I mostly went over it, but for example, if I wanted to save this post, you just go to the three dots next to that person's post. Oops, I already saved that one. Hold on a second. Let's try a different one. Actually, I'm sorry. On this, okay, there's a bookmark button. So if you want to save it, just click the little bookmark flag and that will save it. Now, when you do that, this, whoops, fat fingers over here. When you do that, a little thing comes up and it says save to collection. So once I click save to collection, I get to pick what collection I want to save that post to. Okay. So just use those intentionally. Okay. Don't just use them just to use them. I mean, make an intentional category, I'm sorry, collection that you want and use it for engaging with people or whatever, or post ideas. You can also save reels. And I have one just a category that says reel ideas. So then I can go back and think, oh yeah, that's right. I wanted to do a reel just like this girl did. So let's talk stories really quick. And I highly recommend you do Instagram stories and just have them shoot straight over to Facebook stories. What I don't recommend is when you make an Instagram post, don't shoot that straight over to Facebook. That does not work well with the Facebook algorithm. The Facebook wants you to just use their, I mean, it's weird because they're sisters, you know, they're sister apps, but whatever. Facebook wants you to just make an original post in Facebook, not from an outside thing posting into it, if that makes sense. Because when you share your Instagram post straight to Facebook, it shows up as a link. People have to click on it, looks weird, and then it just messes with your algorithm because anytime you share a link into Facebook, they don't push it out. You know, you're kind of pushed to the bottom of the list if you have a link, even if it's from Instagram, I think. So people aren't seeing it. And another thing, what's that?
They don't want you to leave Facebook.
Yes, they don't want you to leave their platform. So especially if you're posting a YouTube link or anything like that, they don't want you to click that. They want you to stay in Facebook. So if you have a YouTube link, post it in the comments. You could even post a screenshot of what you want people to go to. Maybe it's a screenshot of the YouTube and then post the link in the comments so people know what they're doing. But yeah, so that, and the other thing that Facebook doesn't really seem to like is pre-made videos. They like a live video. They like pictures, but it seems like they like single pictures better than multiple pictures is what I'm noticing. However, Instagram apparently likes multiple pictures these days. They used to like single pictures. Now they like what's called a carousel, which is several pictures in a row. But they really like it for when people are providing a valuable content where it's like, you know, text and it says, you know, 3 things to help you with your business. And then next slide, you know, on Instagram, and then shows this, and then this, and then this. People really, or I guess Instagram really likes those and they get, you know, pushed out more. Sorry, these are just random tips. I'm just kind of thinking of off the top of my head, but okay.
With a single photo, but Instagram is more of the carousel.
Yeah, apparently these days that just started, was not carousel's always been there, but it seems like Instagram recently, from what I'm hearing from experts, really likes carousels these days. However, I mean, I noticed my single photos are doing great too. So I'm not too concerned about it. And don't treat this all like a science, a formula. You have to do this. And if you don't do this, it's going to fail, because the algorithm is constantly changing. And I mean, a couple months ago, they would say, oh, you need 30 hashtags in your every post and put it in your caption. And then other people would say, oh, you need your hashtags should be in in the comments of your post. And then today, or at least a few weeks, as of like a month ago, they were saying, don't put the hashtags in your comments. They're only searchable if they're in your caption, like from your actual post. You know, so like if you're making a post, you're typing some words, you're saying, oh, here is what I had for lunch today. And then put the hashtags right there after that sentence instead of in the comments. Because apparently hashtags are now only searchable through the actual post, like the actual caption of your post. I don't know. I mean, this stuff keeps changing. And then they also say like, oh, only do like 7 hashtags versus 30 now. So don't take everything like, oh my God, I have to do this or I have to do that. Try different things, see what works for you. But I think the most important thing is to be consistent. Try to start being consistent posting. Try to post around the same time every day. Don't stress yourself out over it, but maybe say, you know what, every day at lunchtime, I'm going to make an Instagram post. Or, even just start with every other day. Give yourself some kind of a goal. But I do challenge you to challenge yourself and set up maybe a checklist that you have for the month and say, you know what, I'm going to check this off every day. I'm going to make a post and I'm going to make it at this time of the day. Now, if you forget to make it at lunchtime, no big deal. Just make it by the end of the day. But I think Instagram, what they do is they get used to your rhythm and they know like, okay, this is the time that Susie's going to be posting. So we're going to mostly push out her content if she's, around 4 o'clock, because that's when she usually posts. But if you're posting one day at midnight, one day at 6 a.m., one day at 12, it gets confusing. And that also goes for the hashtags. The hashtags can be confusing, I think, if there's too many. So keep that little small group of hashtags close to whatever your niche is or whatever you're offering, or just the health and wellness thing, or just stuff that has to do with you, where you're going to find your people, because we want to attract the people that are going to like us, right? So keep the hashtags very specific to you. And the more general the hashtag is, it might be harder for people to actually find you. And it's hard to explain, but like if you have a hashtag that when you go to type a hashtag, it'll say like how many people are using that hashtag, right? So you'll type in like gut health, but then you'll see maybe like, 900,000, it shows up next to that. That means like a ton of people are using that hashtag. You might type gut health, something out. I can't even think right now, but you might type something a little bit more specific. And then you'll see the number go down to like 50,000. And it's like, oh, that's actually like a better hashtag to use because it has a little bit less. It has a lot, but not too many, users, if that makes sense. And I'm not going to get into all that because I'm not even an expert in all the numbers, but these are just tips that I've heard along the way that do seem to work. Okay, so let's get into stories really quick because stories are my passion and I love to talk about stories with people. I feel that they are super important. Even if you're like, oh, I've never done a story, or I don't like stories. They seem like they just take so much extra time. I just want to put my post up and be done. I advise you to challenge yourself to do stories and think of it like a way for your audience to get to know you better, a behind the scenes kind of thing, and a way to get engagement. Because if you're not having engagement, maybe you're like, well, I don't use Instagram because nobody ever likes my posts, or I don't really get engagement there. Maybe you just need to try new things to try to get your engagement up. And same for Facebook too. If you feel like your engagement's low, stories could be something that could really help you. And even if your people aren't engaging that well with you, I'll teach you like what I like to do to try to get people to engage with you. So another thing that's important is showing your face in your stories. I try to show my face at least once a day. Sometimes I forget. And it might be every couple of days, that I literally show up, do a video of me saying something, and it could just be for one slide. You don't want to go on and on for like 10 slides in a row talking about like one thing, and then it's so boring. I mean, it's one thing if it's kind of like an exciting or really funny story and people are like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen next? But if you have too many slides of yourself talking in a row, I notice myself doing it. I'm trying to get a point across and I talk too long, and then I'm like, oh, I'm just going to delete these because I know people aren't going to go through them. They're just going to be like, boring, swipe away, let's go to something else. So if you do have something you're loading into your stories that you want to say a lot about, break it up. Okay. Maybe have a couple slides of it and then insert a funny meme and then go back. Might be another slide of you talking, maybe a couple more, and then insert something else, like something, maybe a personal picture of you and your family or your kids playing, and then maybe a recipe or something, and then back to you talking. So if it is going to be really long, try to break it up, because otherwise people are going to be like, okay, I can't deal with this. But if they see there's a variety of content in there, they're going to be more interested. The other thing is you can share Plexus in your stories and talk about your business and talk about your products, but do not make that the main thing of your stories. People will stop watching your stories and never engage with them, and they will usually swipe away immediately, especially if the first thing in your stories is something Plexus, because that's not what people want to see. However, we do want to share how we use Plexus in our daily life, but don't do it a lot and don't do it right away. What I like to do is start my stories for my day, start them with something engaging. I'll teach you about that in a second. And then maybe something personal, maybe something funny, and maybe something valuable in there, and then some Plexus, and then back to kind of mixing other things in, and then back to some Plexus. So Plexus is just kind of the sprinkles on top of the story Sunday. I'm sprinkling the Plexus in here and there, but I don't want a lot of it. If I had all sprinkles in my Sunday, I wouldn't want to eat it, would you? And then you want, the cherry on top to be something that the thing where someone's actually interacting with you. So how you're going to do that is to create polls in your stories, and they're super easy. If you guys need story poll ideas, I can send you guys those another time. I post them once a week in my team page and give people just story poll ideas to use for the week. I like to use them about every other day. I'm probably putting a poll in there because it really gets people to click on your stuff. Obviously, Instagram notices when people are clicking on your stuff and maybe pushes you to the front. And when people click on my stuff, that gives me an in to message them. Okay. So for example, I should have done one before. Here, I'll just do one live here. Okay. So I'm swiping, or you can either push the plus sign at the top of your Instagram to push, create a new story, or you can swipe to the right and you can create a new story. Okay, so here's my story. I'm gonna put a picture. Okay, so I added a picture. Once you're in stories, there's just a way to basically select a photo from your camera roll. And now I'm gonna click the sticker button right at the top. There's a little square smiley face. It's a sticker. You guys probably all know this already, but and then in the middle, there's a poll button. There's also a questions button. The questions button, I don't like very much. I use it sparingly. It's good, but the problem is when you ask open-ended questions, you're most likely not going to get people click on that and type, because it makes them do more work. People on Instagram are lazy. I'm not going to lie. I'm lazy when I'm on Instagram. Someone asks me like, what's the meaning of life? Or what's the most motivational quote you've ever heard? Or I don't know. I don't have time to do that. Like, I'm on Instagram to do mindless things, not to like type out a sentence to somebody. So most likely people won't use this feature. Now you can ask, or you can actually type and change these words. It just says, ask me a question. You can change the text into whatever you want it to say. You could say, what's your favorite coffee to order at Starbucks? That might be an easy one though, if you want to do something like that. The ask me a question is nice. Like, ask me anything, you never know what people might ask you on there. That's kind of fun, but I'm going to delete that. I'm just going to do the poll button. When you click the poll button, it shows up default like this. It says, ask a question, yes or no. You can change all of those words. You can say, just say this or that, and I'll type coffee or tea, and then people will pick. Most likely you're going to get people to click on that because it's super easy. They don't have to think very hard. And usually somebody has an opinion, their hardcore coffee or their hardcore tea. And then when they do, then you get to go in, once it uploads, hold on, and see who clicked your poll. Oh, I wish I had one ready yet. No, okay. Same thing. Like, once you swipe up and you get to see the viewers who viewed your story, there'll be a place that shows who clicked coffee, who clicked tea. And then once you see that, you can directly DM that person and say, like, I saw you clicked coffee. Oh my gosh, me too. What's your favorite way do you drink your coffee black, or do you like it with cream? Or what's your favorite thing to order at Starbucks? I'm craving my iced white mocha right now. It's just start a normal conversation. This has nothing to do with you talking about Plexus with people. I don't want you to talk about Plexus with people in this conversation. However, you never know, it may turn into it. They may actually ask you because you're just genuinely chatting with them. They might say, you know what? I've been watching you. Like, what is that probiotic you've been talking about, by the way, now that we're chatting? But that's not the point of this. The point of it is for you to create meaningful connections with people, or even, I say meaningful, coffee or tea, that's kind of a meaningless connection, like whatever, but you're chatting about, sometimes chatting about nothing is just showing genuine interest in people. And instead of like most of the time, if I click that on somebody's profile, a lot of people don't reply back. That's okay. But when people do, like, it feels like special, like, oh, this person wants to talk to me, or they care about my opinion. And so it's just a way to boost engagement. And so when you're in DMs with people, that boosts your engagement. And the same goes for Facebook, especially on Facebook, when you're in Messenger with somebody. Okay. Stories. What else do I want to talk about with stories? And the thing is, like with stories, again, you can make those polls plexus related or health and wellness related, but most of the time try to keep them not that style, because if they're always just about plexus or just about health and wellness, people will tend to stop answering them because they think like, oh, the only reason she's posting these polls is because she wants to find out if I want to buy her stuff. Basically, try to keep them more fun and light, and that's when you're going to get people engaging with you. I am just super passionate about stories. So if you guys have more questions about how to make stories, what to add into them, how to change them up, anything about them, please ask me later. You can just DM me. And I also suggest trying to not keep them the same. Don't have like, okay, this morning, like you don't want every day to be like, okay, here's my breakfast, here's a picture of my shake, here's my workout. And then people don't hear from you for a few hours, and then it's a picture of your kid, and then it's your nightly glass of tea or wine, and then that's it. And if it's the same thing every single day, people are going to be so bored by that. You want to have something that's exciting or interesting, or just change things up so that people always want to go to your stories. Because there's certain people, when I see their story bubbles, I'm like, swipe, swipe, swipe. No. Oh, I want to see what this person has to say. She's always interesting. She always has something funny, or she has good memes. So I like to follow her because I like when people sprinkle in some funny memes, because I like to save them and repost them myself. Or, oh, this person always shares really good tips with me about, whatever, snack ideas. So just think about what are those little things that you can provide value to people within your stories too, not just within your posts. Okay, so let's.
Can I ask a question on
Yeah,
stories, Nicole?
go ahead.
So when I have not been able to figure out how to do a video in my stories, I don't know how to do that. Like clean mom with kids, like she'll talk for, like you said, 100 slides. And I don't know how to do that. And that I tried it once and it was very painful.
Okay.
Could you talk about that? Or
Yeah.
do you want to do that with the hands-on?
Oh, it doesn't matter. You could do it two ways. I mean, I'll explain it now, and if you need me to show it hands-on, I can do that, because we're going to get right into that anyways. But one way would just be you record it to your phone, and it's like you already have basically, pulling it from your photo gallery. You already have a video that you recorded. Then you can just upload it into your stories is one way. The other way is let me see if I can point to this. My cracked screen. Click the down arrow. So I'm in story. Like I'm just in a blank story right now. I'm about to do a story. When I click that, there's a hands-free button. It's backwards, but it says hands-free, and there's a little stop, like a video option. When I select that, so now it's just on hands-free, that button will look like. Then you just press the button and start the story, and it's going, and it's going, and it's going, and it's going. So it's doing a hands-free video without me having to hold the button. Now, it's only going to go for so long. I think it will only go for, let's see, definitely goes into the next slide. 4 slides, I think, 3 or 4 slides.
Yes.
At max. So once it stops, it's going to give me, you see on the bottom, it's already created 2 slides or 1.5 slides. It's going to keep going. Once it gets to the 3 or 4, it stops. You have to notice, stop talking when it stops. At that point, that's where you're going to add your text, add anything you want to add to it, stickers or whatever, post that, and then continue and do another hands-free video. That's the feature I use most of the time when I do talking videos. I just do it straight from Instagram, because I don't like to record on my phone and then upload it, because it's more space. It's taking up more space on my phone. And I don't want these videos, unless it's a video that I want to save on my phone for some reason, or I want to like upload it later to YouTube. But to me, it's just my phone gets so overloaded with pictures and videos. I don't want to have an extra thing on my phone. So I personally don't do that. You can though, but keep in mind, if you're uploading an old video, if it's more than 1 minute, right? Yeah, I think if it's more than 1 minute, it only takes 1 minute, maybe 2 at the most. It only takes like 1 minute at a time. So if your clip is 4 minutes long, it creates more work. You'll get the first minute in, then you have to go back to your photos in your gallery, crop that down, get it to the next minute, and then post that. And then you got to keep cropping it. And it's very annoying, but it's doable. It's just annoying. So there's that. The other thing you can do is just hold this button down. Like I can just hold this the whole time and it will, whoops, gives you a countdown and it will just start recording, but I have to keep my finger on it. But
Hey, Nicole.
Yeah.
Do you need to get to your 2 o'clock and you want to come back at 4 or what do you want to do?
yeah, did you guys already eat lunch?
Yes,
Okay. So
we're
you're
fine.
good. Well, here's what I could do that, but here's one thing I want to do. I want to kind of start something so you guys have you can play with some stuff. In the meantime, I could come back at 4 and finish up the reel if you want. Because I did talk a long time about Instagram in general. So
And we love it all. We love it all. We're just getting a little fried.
yeah, I'm
Um,
sure. Yeah. Okay. So let me just show you real quick too with when you do here, I'm just going to talk. Okay. When you do a video and you're recording a video and you want to have the captions on it, do you guys know how to put captions on your stories?
I
Okay.
was gonna ask that next.
Good. So yeah, I highly recommend you having captions because a lot of times people will watch stories when they don't have the sound on, or, you have someone that's hearing impaired anyways. And so you want to be able to reach that network of people too. If they can't hear it, they can't follow your content, but if they can read something on it, they can. And then the other thing would just be, someone might be at work, or maybe it's late at night and they're scrolling their phone while they're laying next to their husband, but he's sleeping and they have to keep it on silent. So you want to have something where people are actually still able to use your content. Because if I'm scrolling in silence, I can't have the sound on, but I want to see what this person's talking about. Then, I get frustrated. I just swipe away because I'm like, oh, I don't know what they're talking about. And I don't have time to go through this, but people that have the captions on, I'm clicking all of their slides. Okay. So what you want to do is just click the sticker button at the top, the little square with the smiley face. I know that's so small, but you guys probably know what I'm talking about. And then you should have a captions button.
Yeah.
So it's just right
There.
whoops. So it's transcribing. Now it makes it really big. So you can squeeze this, make it smaller, move it around. You can change, I can't see it now. Oh, when you click on it, you can change the fonts. You can want it to look like that or whatever. You can also edit it. So if it says things wrong, if it's a word, you can touch it and totally like edit the word that like they typed wrong, or it's weird. They've bleeped out like people like that say crap or something, or if you say a swear word, they'll bleep you out and like it doesn't even show it. It's kind of funny. Yeah, so you can edit that. And then the other thing is if you don't like all of the words to show, I usually edit out when it says because I say a lot. Sorry guys, I know I've probably said that 100 times today. I always try to delete that off my caption. Or you could just simply use the text bar, like you click the A and just create text that summarizes what you're saying in that one clip so that people don't have to read through the whole thing. So a couple different ways to do that. And I did let my people know that I'm going to be late to the meeting and it is recorded. So I'm not super stressed about leaving, but, and I'm not hosting it. It's a peer coaching thing. So I want you guys I'm going to leave you with just trying to create a reel on your own and then come back to me with some questions. Click the plus sign. Everyone get your phone out real quick. Click the plus sign on your Instagram to create a new, whatever you're creating. Reel is an option. Okay, so now I'm in Reels and it looks like this. It looks like I'm just about to make a photo or a video. You guys get that? Now, what you can do, there's two different ways to put audio into your video. One of it's to like, maybe you're viewing somebody else's reel and you saw a great idea, or you like that sound that they used, and you can pull the audio right from there. I love doing that. Or you can just click the music button on the top. There's a little menu bar you're going to see on the left. Click the music button, and it's going to give you a populated list of just songs that Instagram picks for you to look at. But if you scroll down, there's categories, and one says like Throwback Thursday, there's voiceovers, there's sports, there's, trending, or there's pop or whatever. There's different categories, but you can click see more. And then you'll see, they'll give you more ideas, or you can click search music and type in a specific song that you're thinking of, or just a topic. You could click maybe like fall, or like, I'll click pumpkins. I had something pumpkin the other day, and I wanted to have like a pumpkin song because I was making pumpkin protein balls. And there was like different songs that had, like, one says pumpkin spice kind of life. So I added that to my reel or my story. So you could just pick an audio, or you can pick the audio later, but it makes sense to have the audio first and then make the reel, because you want to pull it, like you want to like mouth the words, or you want to be able to dance along with the beat, right? So pick your audio first. Once you have the audio, okay, it starts playing. That's a trending song. I don't know the fancy like song. I have no idea how to do those moves, but you could do something else. You do? Okay, I want to see your reel on that.
No, but I'll teach it to you.
Okay, that would be fun. Okay, so then you can click once the reel is, the audio is selected, the second button on the menu bar says 30 seconds right now at default. You could change that to 60 seconds. I highly recommend not to have a 60-second reel. You want to have it on 15, because really no one wants to look at a reel more than 15 seconds. Unfortunately, our attention spans are really short, and people can't even watch a 15-second clip. Apparently, the ideal reel is 7 seconds, because that's where people watch it and watch it again. And when it gets a lot longer, people tend to fall off and not watch the whole thing. The way to get good engagement or good algorithm or whatever with Instagram Reels is to have people that are viewing your reel multiple times, because they're like, oh, what was that again? Wait, let me see what she just did. Or what did she just say? What was that text bubble that just popped up? I missed that. Then they go back and watch it again. The more times people are watching it, that's the more views you get. It looks better for Instagram. If they actually click read more and read your actual caption, that boosts you more. And what's the other thing? If they save it, that's another thing, or if they like it or comment or whatever. So anyways, don't get too caught up in all that though. But what you can do is play with these things. You can change the speed and make it slow-mo or fast. So if it's a voiceover I'm doing, I'll click it and I'll make it really slow, because I can't talk as fast as I can't memorize what they just said maybe, and I can't talk that fast. But if I make it in slow-mo, then I can follow along with it better, really slow like this. And then Instagram will speed it up for you at regular speed, so it actually sounds normal. You can change your filters. And what I really like is the timer. If you don't use the timer, it's going to start with you pushing the button. That's how your reel's going to look. Like you're like, oh, what am I doing? Pushing the button, you're starting, and you're not ready. But if you use the timer, it gives you a 3-second countdown. So you want to use the timer. And you could also, you could use it as segments, like time it to only do the first 4 seconds. So you could do your first move and then do the next move. You know what I mean? But yeah. So anyways, I want you to maybe take a minute and just do something. Do a short reel. Go to the reel section in Instagram. Look at other people's reels really quick. Find something like a sound that you like. Click that reel, and then there's a button or actually you'll see the name of the title of the song scrolling on the bottom. Touch the name of the song, and then you'll have the option to use the audio right away or save the audio for later. Use that audio, try to make a reel, and then later we can play with adding text to it and all that kind of stuff if you want. Because I know that's where people get tripped up. Like, how do I add text? How do I make the text pop up and go away? And that's it's pretty simple. It's just once you learn it. you'll be good to go. And, you know, don't feel so overwhelmed with this. Like, you don't have to be perfect on reels. If it's not perfect, it's more relatable, but try to use good lighting, have some ring lights, have a tripod. If you're able to do more full body reels, they tend to do better than just like your face, like up like this, like in a reel. Doesn't usually work as well, which I noticed with my reel last night was like totally up in my face and it was dark. It didn't do well. So, you know, it just proves like, yeah, I should have done better with that, but it was just, you know, I wasn't trying to do much with it, just being funny, but, yeah, so I will let you guys go because this has been an hour and 10. So, what do you guys think? Was there any other questions I could address at the moment?
I'd written down something earlier. What was it? Oh, okay, I have a quick question. So if I'm going to post one photo, I can't write on that one photo, correct?
Like actually put text on the photo itself on the Instagram? Not on Instagram. Yeah, not on Instagram, only on Facebook. You could do that.
Just wanted to confirm that I wasn't missing something.
Well, one
and
thing
then-
that you, oh, sorry, I was gonna say, one thing that you could do that some people do, instead of like going to Canva and making a word graphic, what they'll do is just create it in stories. You can create a text graphic from there or have a picture, add text to it, and then there's a little save button. Save that,
Yeah.
post that to
I've
Instagram.
done that, and I've gone to Word Swag and done that too.
Mhm.
My other question was on the captioning. There's no return button, so everything I want to say just has to be in one chunk. But yet I see people that use the periods. I see people that have spaces between paragraphs. How are they getting that?
So,
I have gotten it by going into my notes and typing my full post in my note and then copying and pasting, and the spacing stays.
yeah. So let me just try something because I think that changed. Yeah. So now that I'm typing on a post, I'm typing a caption, and then I pick space, and it looks like the enter button isn't there. But when I
Right.
push on my iPhone, I just push the number, and now it changes, and the return button all shows up. So yeah, once you change say you're in ABC mode, push space. I'm like, okay, there's nothing there. If you push 1, 2, 3 after you push space bar, you'll see 1, 2, 3. At least it shows up on my keyboard. Then there's a return button shows up.
I was wondering why sometimes it was there and sometimes it's not.
Yeah, that's probably why. Probably sometimes you see it accidentally pop up like that. Yeah, return.
Yeah.
And again, you could do the periods or the dots and to put your hashtags in for. Yeah. Also, there is a website. I'll have to look. It's in my bookmark somewhere. It's a website you can go to that you can type out your post, and it will like space it out for you. All you do is there's like a button, you push copy, and then it spaces it for you somehow. I don't know how to explain it, but I'll send you guys the link if you want to try that sometime. But
Okay.
And how do you name the highlights? Like, you know, the highlight things?
yeah. Okay. So
I happen to have one, but it's called highlights.
yeah, that's like the default. I can
Okay.
get out of this. That's the default thing they have set up for you, is just highlights. You can change the name of that. So your one highlight that you have, you can go in, click. So if I clicked my recipes, and then I click the more button on the bottom, there's a more. And then whoops. Yeah, I edit highlight. You can change the cover photo, change the name of it. You can remove something from your highlights, all that stuff. But to create a new one, you're just pulling it from your stories. Now, if you're like, oh, I didn't do any stories, so I have no highlights, or maybe you did stories last week, you can go into your archive on the menu button and click archive. Oh, no, you can't see anything I'm doing.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, and so then it shows I can go back through all of my stories for years if I wanted to. And there's even a calendar button. So I can click the calendar and find stories from last month and click on that. I can add it to a highlight. So you can quickly find like, oh, here's my food ones that I want to add to a food one, you know, or my lean shake recipes, put them all in a highlight. Oh, and then real quick though, with the highlights, another reason is not just for people glancing and wanting to look at your highlights. what I'm trying to do, or what I want to do is a goal, maybe by the end of the year, is just to have more intentional highlights where it's like, you know, here's all my gut health, here's mental health, or here's even more specific just on ProBio 5 or just on testimonies. And you can actually copy a link to that highlight. You could send it to people. So if someone's like, I want to learn more about your gut health products, or I want to learn more about, you know, I want to see more testimonies or whatever it is. I mean, you can get really specific with it. I can copy a link to that highlight, send it to that person. It'll take them right to my Instagram. They can view all my highlights on that. So if they're very intentional, people can learn from them, you know, you can use it as a tool when you're recruiting people.
Do you ever hashtag on some pictures in a story?
So you can, and apparently from what I've learned recently from Brock Johnson, I think was the one that said it. He said that
Yeah.
now it's irrelevant to post hashtags anymore in stories, that it's not searchable. So if someone searches that hashtag, they're not going to see your story. So I guess it's
Okay.
kind of just not useful anymore unless that changes or unless he's wrong. Yeah. So
He seems to be pretty on it.
yeah. They're usually right with the trend. So yeah, another person to follow is Brock Johnson. It's Brock 11 Johnson. And then his mom is Shalene Chalene, Shalene Johnson. And they're both Instagram experts. They have a podcast. They have, you know, just their content online. They also have a club that you can join, but they have really good content to learn more about stuff like that.
I'm in the club. I need to make
Oh,
better
good.
use. I need to make better use of it and
Yeah.
actually do tutorials. But I do learn from them a lot by just reading the posts.
Even just from their posts. It's amazing. So
Yeah. All right. So I guess we can take a break and make our short little reels and then come back.
yeah, let's do that. And even if you don't have a full reel, like just have something so that we can some kind of video started so we can start adding text to it later. Okay.
That would be amazing. Thank you so very
4:30.
much. Thank you.
4:30.
Awesome.
4:30.
Yeah. Would you say 4:30?
Yeah. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's perfect.
All
That'd be
right.
awesome. And then if you think of any more questions, write them down so then I can address anything just head on. And that, you know, all I'll do is just the reel and then any questions. So, all right. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.